Hey, sixth grade. In this video, we'll keep looking at dividing with fractions, and this time we're going to throw mixed numbers into our problems. So really, if you already know how to multiply mixed numbers and you already know how to divide fractions, then this process will be should be very simple for you. We're just combining kind of those two processes together. The first step when we're dealing with mixed numbers, whether it's multiplication or division or addition or subtraction, is to convert all mixed numbers to improper fractions. Okay, so anytime you see mixed numbers anywhere in a problem, just go ahead and make them improper fractions. That's going to be the first step that you want to do. Because we're doing division here, then our next step needs to be our keep, change process. We keep the first fraction, we change division to multiplication, and then we change or flip the second fraction, which is the one we're dividing by. Okay, so division problems, we need to follow that process. After that, it's multiplication like normal, and then at the end we simplify if necessary and convert any improper fractions back to mixed numbers. Okay, so let's practice a few of these. Number one, we have 1 3/4 divided by 2/5. So my first step is to make my mixed number 1 3/4 an improper fraction. So that's going to be 4 times 1 plus 3, which is 7. So 7/4. And so we have 7/4 divided by 2/5. Okay, so notice I've kept it as a division problem here in this first step. I just want your first step to be changing your mixed number to an improper fraction. On my next line of work, that's where I'm going to do my keep, change. So I keep my first fraction, 7/4. I change my division to multiplication, and then I change my second fraction by flipping it to its reciprocal, 5/2. So we have 7/4 times 5/2. So we're doing 7 times 5 over 4 times 2. I can't really do any canceling here, so I'm just going to multiply like normal. 7 times 5 is 35. 4 times 2 is 8. So we get 35 over 8, and we need to make that a mixed number now. 8 will go into 35 4 whole times, and we get a remainder of 3. So this becomes 4 3/8. Number 2, we have 3 1/2 divided by 1/2. So the first step is to change the mixed number to an improper fraction. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So this is 7/2 divided by 1/2. Next, I do my keep, change. So I keep 7/2. I change division to multiplication, and I change 1/2 by flipping it to 2 over 1. So 7/2 times 2 over 1. 7 times 2 divided by 2 times 1. We can cancel here. I can cancel my 2's, and I replace those with 1's. So now this is 7 times 1 over 1 times 1. 7 times 1 is 7. And 1 times 1 is 1, so I get just an answer of 7. Okay, number 3, I have 2 mixed numbers, so I need to change them both to improper fractions first. 4 times 5 plus 1 is 21, so this is 21/4 divided by 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7, divided by 7/3. Keep, change, so this becomes 21/4 times 3/7. And so now it's 21 times 3 over 4 times 7. I can cancel on this one because I have a 7 in my denominator and a 21 in my numerator. Those are both divisible by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So I have 3 times 3 in my numerator, which is 9, and 4 times 1 in my denominator, which is 4. So 9/4. Change that to a mixed number. 4 will go into 9 2 whole times, and I'm left with a remainder of 1. So this becomes 2 1/4. Okay, on the back we have one word problem that we're going to practice with. It says Kareem has 12 1/2 yards of material. A cape for a play takes 3 5/6 yards. How many capes can Kareem make with the material? Just like we did in the last video, let's practice solving this problem by making our numbers a little bit simpler to figure out what operation and what order we need to apply. What order we need to apply that operation with our numbers. So we have 12.5 yards of material here. This is the bigger number. Let's just make this, let's say, 20. Okay, you can make it, remember, any number you want, but we want to make it a nice, easy number, so let's say 20. And a cape for a play takes 3 and 5, 6 yards. Let's say it takes 4 yards. Okay, so now read the problem and think about what you would do with that 20 and that 4. If you have 20 total yards of material, and you know one cape takes 4 yards, to find how many capes that you or Kareem can make, you would take the total amount, which is 20, and divide it by 4. Okay, 20 divided by 4 would give you the number of capes that we could make. So now we're going to do the same exact thing, except we're going to use the numbers in the original problem. So those numbers were 12.5 and 3 and 5, 6. So for our problem, it's going to be 12 and 1/2. That's the total amount of material, divided by 3 and 5, 6. That's the amount for one cape. Okay, so this is going to be 2 times 12 plus 1, which is 25 halves. So 25 halves divided by 3 and 5, 6 becomes 6 times 3 is 18, plus 5 is 23, so that's 23 sixths. I need to keep change, so this is 25 halves times 6 23rds. So we have 25 times 6 over 2 times 23. I can cancel here. I have a 2 on the bottom and a 6 on the top, so I can divide 2 by 2 to get 1, 6 by 2 to get 3. So we have 25 times 3, which is 75, over 1 times 23, which is 23. So we have the improper fraction 75 over 23. I need to change this to a mixed number now. So divide my numerator by my denominator. 23 will go into 75 3 whole times, and 23 times 3 is 69, so we subtract that from 75 and then we get a remainder of 6. So this becomes the mixed number 3 and 6 23rds. Let's think about what this number means in terms of our problem. Remember, you always want to put your final answers for word problems in the context of the problem. That means think about what you're actually measuring. The 3 and 6 23rds represents the number of capes. Okay, and just like the last video, we need to do some rounding for this problem because we can't make 6 23rds of a cape. That really doesn't make a lot of sense. So to answer the question, how many capes can Kareem make? Well, Kareem can only make 3 capes. Okay, we can't make 4 because we don't have enough material for that 4th cape. So Kareem can make 3 capes. And then, of course, there's going to be a little bit left over with that 6 23rds bit of material. Okay, if you had any questions over this video, make sure you have written those down so that you can ask those the next time you're in class. Until then, have a nice day. You're all wonderful people.